Welcome back to the channel, guys. It has been over 2 years since I did my last drone review. So today we are going to be digging into the current top 5 drones on Temu. Now, these drones, some of them look very similar to some of the ones we checked out over 2 years ago, but all of them seem to have gotten some kind of upgrade, and some of them are just completely different. All right, starting out right here, we have the M66 Drone. This one apparently has a controller with a screen built in. That is a really new thing I like to see. Before, you always had to use your phone. So I'm really hoping that's actually in here. All right, so we can see right here, S156. It does have a QR code on there, likely for the app. We'll get into all the app stuff later. Coming right in, package right on top, a little bit of foam around it. I mean, it feels like some pretty cheap plastic. It doesn't feel like any kind of good rebound plastic. I have a good feeling if this thing catches a tree or a wall one time, it's gonna be pretty done. But it's got a unique look to it. You can see right back here, you have a USB Type-C charging cable. You have your camera on a front-mounted gimbal. And checking in here, there is no physical optical image stabilization that I can see. So if it does have any, it's gonna be all digital. Checking out the actual controller, it does indeed have a full screen. In here, we also have a USB stick, as well as a charging cable, a mini screwdriver, and a micro SD card, as well as 2 add-ons for the controller. You can see right here, the thumbsticks currently have no top on them. That's pretty common with a lot of drones. It has expansion slots in here for extra batteries if you so choose to buy them. As you can see right here, it only comes with the 1 removable battery. The removable battery is what the USB Type-C port was on as well. So that's how you're gonna charge it. Downside for the S156 is when you have the battery plugged in, there is no indicator telling you what the battery life is at. But we'll get into the rest here in just a bit. Coming in at number 4, we have kind of an interesting looking unit here. This is the V196. Again, no idea what company it's from. It's just called the V196. So if you guys are looking for any of these, it's best to search by the model number or the pictures. This does seem to have a bit nicer of a case than the past one. Now this one looks decent on camera, but it feels very cheap. All right, coming in from the top. This is what you're greeted with when you open it. A big old thick piece of foam to hold it in, very thick, about 2 inches. And then there's the drone in all of its glory. All right, so starting with the controller, it is a typical controller here. You can see it's gonna have a spot for your phone. You can see here, this flips up, you have a spot for your phone. 2 little antennas, and then of course, the thumbsticks currently don't have the joysticks in them right now. Much more of a basic controller. Huge downside, this one takes AA batteries. Right off the bat though, this one does come with 2 of these little batteries here. Looks like they are 3.7 volt, 1800 milliamp hour, 6.66 watt hours. Now you guys know with the batteries, we never know how accurate that's gonna be. It looks like it does have an obstacle avoidance sensor that is optionally used. That's pretty interesting. Then of course you have some extra backup parts, your little joystick nubs, and your USB charging cable. Which, huge downside, is micro USB. Then right here you have the actual drone. You can see they were trying to mimic the newer DJI drones. Now, just for the comments, I know people are gonna say this, and you are right. Your better option, 99% of the time, guys, is going to be save up a couple $100 and go buy a DJI over most of these. But a lot of these look pretty different, so maybe they'll have a chance. Here in the front, you have your rotating gimbal. It does not have any optical image stabilization that I can see, so again, if it has it, it's all going to be digital. Now, a common theme here is a lot of these no longer state that they are 4K cameras, which is good because let's be honest, none of them were in the past. We were lucky if they were even 1080p. So with these, I'm really hoping in these price ranges to get some decent 1080p footage. It would be great to see 4K, but again, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Coming into the number 3 spot, we have the Zin Lion Drone 1. This one does come in a plastic case, pretty cheap plastic, pretty flexible, but it may help on some drops. All right, first look inside, you can see that this one does have a screen built in again. I love that. That's a great trend moving forward. I do like an included screen. It does come with 2 batteries. One is currently installed and one is in there. This looks very, very similar to some of the previous folding drones we've had. Like very, very similar. There's a there's a good chance it is, or at least a slightly upgraded model, we can hope. Inside here, we have some extra landing gear pieces, some extra blades, your USB charging cable, which again is micro USB. Don't love to see that. Yeah, so this one has micro USB and USB Type-C. So the drone and the batteries are going to charge off of micro USB. So the drone battery itself charges off of micro USB, which is tucked right up under the lip here. And the controller itself here charges by USB Type-C. So you can tell the controller technology is going to be a lot newer than the drone. So this very well could just be a drone that had a camera type monitoring system upgraded into it. Aside from the fact that it has the screen, I don't have high hopes for the quality of this one. It does feel cheap. It's using older battery tech, so it means it's probably using older flying tech as well. But just like the rest, we're going to go give them all a real world try. All right, moving into the number 2 most sold drone of 2025. This is the M66. Pretty nice looking packaging. Very similar case to the first one. It does feel a little bit softer, but pretty low quality overall. All right, starting out, first thing I noticed is these batteries are way heavier and way bigger than the last drone. USB Type-C charging on the side and 11.1 watt hours. That's almost double the first one. We also have the same USB dongle, and it also comes with an 8 GB micro SD stick, as well as the usual accessories, a couple of blades, charging cable, extra screws. Now, this is where things get really interesting with this one. This is the controller or the remote. Check this out. It is a folding one with the screen built in. I mean, that's a first of its kind right there. So you have the option to fly it either way. Controller feels pretty good. It was missing one of its little nubbins here, but it was just right inside of the bag. Yeah, that is a really cool change there. I like that a lot. Then if you flip open the side here, you have a slot for a micro SD card and your USB Type-C charging for the controller. And then here we have the drone itself. Again, very similar to a lot of the previous models we tested, except this. It looks like it has a triple camera array in the front. I wonder if those are actually real cameras. We will find out, believe me. You can see it does have a dual axis gimbal here on the front, as well as the standard folding wing design. Pretty simple, nice, compact, tiny. And again, this is the M66 Max. All right, moving into the number 1 sold on pretty much every list I could find, and really there's no surprise. This is the E99 Max. Now, I'm not saying no surprise because it's good. We don't actually know. But because the old version of the E99 was the most sold drone on Temu for years. So, the fact that the upgraded variant is now the most sold doesn't really surprise me much at all. Coming on in, it's identical to the other drone. Oh, I should have saw that coming. You know, I kind of expected we'd run into this, but that's kind of why I like to open things on camera. Things a little more fun. I guess we will have one less drone to test because the Zin Lion 1 is the E99 Max repackaged. There is absolutely no surprise. They are identical in every single way, down to the battery and the charger. That's enough talking. Let's get outside and test them out. All right, guys, we are starting out with an old classic, the E99 Pro Max. Now, this one here, it feels about as cheap as can be. And let's see if we can get this on camera. But if we look really close here, that is the camera. It is mostly covered with this little cogwheel and a tiny, tiny pinhole. But surprising enough, we actually have video from it. From what I can tell, this is the exact same as the E99 with maybe an upgraded camera and definitely an upgraded remote. Again, this charges with USB-C. This one charges with micro. And I hate that. All right, so we're just gonna start it off. We have some average wind going on here. Let's get a recording on the drone. Okay, this is a great start, great start. All right, we're running into this weird issue where the back 2 rotors are not spinning at all, so we're gonna shake it around and try again.
Give her the turn action. Okay. So that's hopeless. I feel bad for it. Oh, let's start up. It works every time.
All right, guys, let's watch this one fly. All right, we'll test out and see how the camera works since this one apparently doesn't fly. We will grab the other one and try it out. We might have gotten a DOA unit here. We'll try flying one more time after the reset. The camera's working, but the drone doesn't know that it's connected. So this is not a great start, guys. Do our test flight. All right, we're doing the S156. Camera screen looks so much more responsive. I'm very curious to see how this one flies. Okay, we'll get her set down. Let me make sure that we are recording here. Most of these are actually recording directly to the remote, the ones with the built-in screen. So right here on the side, we have ourselves an SD card. We put it in and hopefully it works. All right, we have the recording going on that. Let me test out the camera control. All right, let's do a takeoff. That's a new one. We'll try again.
Did it. Yeah. I'm not moving.
All right. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this one, guys. It's just kind of stopping flying mid-flight.
It's doing really good.
Yep. Okay, we'll try.
It's not even acting like a battery.
We're just gonna.
It's taking the falls good.
It is taking the falls pretty good. I don't see anything broken yet.
It only weighs 1 ounce.
Although there is some there's some shaky man, this is, I'm double checking all the options on here. We're gonna give it a stop and then a start again. Fine, because it's still recording video this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it auto stabilize for a second.
This is a new record.
Okay, it's holding itself. We do have a decent wind right now, maybe about 10 mile per hour winds. All right, so with this video here, I want to try to get some shots of the same things with whatever cameras we can. So we're going to use the car and the building as a reference point for shadows. So now that we're still in the air, going to get our sliding shot of the car here.
I don't know what happened, but it's actually doing good now.
Yeah, except the camera, the drone is flying up on its own. I am not telling it to fly up.
That's weird.
It's actually drifting a lot.
Yeah, it's gaining.
I'm not telling it to do any of this.
Look at the camera feed, it's kind of jumpy. You got like 6 frames on the camera.
Can we get a distance shot?
This one so far is not exactly a joy to fly. I think it's because the chassis itself is slightly bent. If I press straight forward on the drone, it kind of goes at a 45-degree angle. Right now, if we take a look, I am not touching anything at all, and it's just kind of running away. So we'll try to bring her back here. It's very hard to control because right now I'm pushing back and it's flying forward like it is, and I'm not even telling it to go up, and it is going up and all over. So that is, the wind isn't that strong right now. It's actually died down quite a bit. So yeah, that's not great. I don't know where it's going. I am not telling it to do any of this. Now we have this really annoying beep going on. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It just kind of flew everywhere on its own. Pretty frustrating, and it just took off on its own. It's supposed to be landed. I'm not touching anything, and it's bouncing around. Actually, the controller is off, and it's... Well, guys, this is not going as well as our last drone video. These are kind of a disaster so far. Thankfully, the controller did reconnect, allowing me to control it somewhat. I'm trying the land feature. Got it to shut off, finally. You know, it's too bad. I had pretty high hopes for this one. It's just not working right. We started out flipping up and down like 6 times. Camera quality, well, I won't see that till I edit the video, but I guess let's go check out the next one. All right, guys, we're on to our third drone. This one took about 20 minutes to connect to the app. It does connect through Wi-Fi, which goes through the controller. I'm pretty sure my main issue was I had another app open that was causing a problem. So we're not gonna nick this for that. I have recording on right now. Let's go ahead and take it off and see if this one will actually fly. Already a much better experience. We're gonna let it auto hover first. We have basically no wind right now. Flying very, very stable right now. I'm gonna give it a little push, see how it handles it. All right, this is a much better start, guys. It's beeping at me and I'm not sure why. So for now, we're just gonna try to get a shot of the car. I wanna compare the colors. Camera controls are pretty rudimentary. It is a 1-button click. We're gonna go for a smoother pan here if we can. Let's bring the camera down just a bit. One more. All right, now we're gonna take this sucker for a flight. I mean, it's flying great. It's responsive, it is quick. We got her flying in a circle right now. Oh, it landed itself. I wonder if that's because the battery is low on this one. Yep, the battery just died. So I think our problem with the battery on this one is it took us so long to actually get it connected that we ran out of battery. These are only gonna have 15 to 25 minute flight time, so we'll get this battery back in and we'll get back to flying it here in just a minute. All right, guys, we had so many issues connecting in last time. The battery only lasted us about 2 minutes of flight time. This battery should be fully charged, so let's get back into it. Again, this one seems to be flying really nice. Now I'm standing right next to it. This thing is not loud. This is a very quiet drone. Rotational speed is not the fastest, but that's all right. Got her a little ways out. We're just gonna kind of go way up in the air. Oh. I think the batteries on this just might be pretty weak. We're gonna try the auto land function, see what it does. All right, auto land works great, but our battery life, it's kind of already dead. So we're gonna turn her off here for a second. Now I think the issue we're running into is maybe they didn't get fully charged, although I did run both of these on a charger. So what we're gonna recharge them. We'll give it another chance, but that was both batteries lasted about 2 to 3 minutes max. So that's not good. All right, guys, went back, recharged everything. One of the batteries for this drone is not taking a charge at all. They were on for quite a while, so let's give this one a fly and see what we got. Give ourselves a little bit of a camera test. Again, this one is crazy steady. It's just the last 2 times we attempted it, it only flew for about 1 to 2 minutes max. All right, up we go. It is handling this no problem giving, guys. There is 0 wind here right now. Now the camera FPS that I'm looking at through the phone connection currently, it is very spotty at best. Hopefully it's recording a little better than that. This one does appear to be recording on the drone. Oh, I am not telling it to do that. It just shot back all the way across the field by itself. All right, that's about our max range. It is is not great, but we're already getting very limited functionality here. I'm gonna try to bring her back a little closer. The range is not far, a few hundred feet maybe. It does fly nice. It does fly nice, that is for sure, but the range is not fantastic. All right, so who is a drone like this really for? Guys, this is gonna be for kids or people who wanna just test and see if they wanna spend that money on a better drone. Obviously, buying a used DJI Mini 3 for 150 to 300 bucks roughly is gonna be a much better choice than something like this. But if you wanna spend 30 or 40 bucks and just buy a drone similar to this isn't bad. Now you guys can decide on the camera quality whether or not it's good enough for you, but at least this battery is holding a charge. We've been flying for 3 minutes now and the battery isn't showing any signs of being low. Now there is a lack of adjustment. Like right now, it is moving on its own. It's not staying perfectly centered and I don't really expect it to for this price. All right, now we are gonna test the last function on this. The obstacle avoidance does not seem to work at all. We did have the module on there for a little bit and it did absolutely nothing, but we will try the return home function, see if it can do anything. So it just flew behind this metal building and we lost all connectivity. I don't know if it's still flying. I guess we'll walk over there and see real quick. It's still flying, but without line of sight, we have absolutely nothing. There it goes. It did reconnect and it is allowing us to fly again. Yeah, at the farther ranges, this thing is not great. It's very easy to lose connection. Again, it's a cool little thing for kids because it does fly really well. And there we are. We are at 8 minutes and we are getting our low battery warning. There's not too much else to say about it. It works, it's a great test drone, but honestly, there's a lot better options. All right, guys, we are back to the second E99 Max or Pro. Again, upgraded version. The camera on it is really cool. I love the screen built in because I don't have to use my phone. I hate having to use my phone for these drones. So we're gonna get the camera recording. All right, first thing I'm noticing, guys, is the gimbal on the camera is not working. We can't control it, but you can manually set it. So we'll still test the camera out. She likes to drift a lot. We have very, very little wind. Okay, it just kind of drifts on its own a bit, but this one is actually flying, so we're 10 steps ahead of the last one, that's for sure. It is not fast. It is definitely not fast. Yeah, it just took about 15 seconds to fly about 30, 40 feet maybe. And it is now struggling to fly against very, very light winds. Like it is barely moving forward. I am fully pressed up right now. All right, now if we get a view right here, we can kind of see what it's seeing of the car. We do hear that the battery's getting low on the drone. No surprise there. None of these are gonna last very long. But it's actually pretty responsive on here. Nice little touch. One-click landing, again, these always seem to work pretty good on these cheaper drones. Let's talk about the main differences between this and the old E99. Almost nothing. They fly exactly the same, they feel exactly the same. Same pretty horrible battery life, but they have the screen. So that is a plus. If you guys like the E99, you will like the E99 Pro / Max because it has a screen on and you don't have to use your phone, which is a huge bonus. So. All right, guys, now onto the one that I have the most hopes for. Let's get into it. All right, moving into the last one, I had the highest hopes for this one. This is the M66 Max. So we're gonna get her turned on here. I was holding the controller upside down. That's on me. Joysticks go on top. Instant takeoff. We can see here. Camera looks actually pretty good. Nice size screen. Even out here in the daylight, we can still see it pretty good. Nice. All right, so let's get an eye on it. We got a little bit of flotation going. Doesn't appear to be a very fast drone, but this one might actually have a GPS signal to come back to. We'll test that here in just a bit. Again, like the last one, this is not a very fast drone. It does seem to work. It's pretty stable. This is more stable than the E99 Max that we just tested out, but it's not fast. All right, a little bit of a color test to see how well it does on the bright red. You can see in the video it has no optical image stabilization. She's a little rough, she's bouncing around. Now we're gonna test and see if the home function works. Basically, that's a GPS tracker that's gonna keep track of where it took off. I don't know where it's going, but okay, I had to stop it because it's trying to run across the street. That's fantastic. Nope, nope, there it goes. All right, we just caught her in the tree. Once it got about 150-ish feet away, we could no longer see which direction it was going, and no matter what I pushed, it was going away from me. So, not the best start. Does appear to still be on and connected, so I guess we got ourselves a good crash test in. All right, so it did drop quite a ways. I'd say about 40 feet down. Let's give her a quick inspection here. Battery came a little bit loose, but I mean, it looks fine. All right, it reconnected just fine. It went right back into recording. Let's go ahead and give her a takeoff. I mean, guys, it dropped from quite a ways down. Like, it hit the branches above me. That's a good 40 feet up there. Well, if anything, it's pretty durable. Now we can test the controller button here on the side and take a look at it through the drone. This allows you to change the angle of the camera. Now, this camera looks like it has 3 lenses, but it's really hard to tell. I think a couple of them are for obstacle avoidance, which didn't work. Doesn't seem to want to move. Let me check these settings here. There it goes. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna let my buddy Sam try this out. He's never flown a drone in his life, not any kind. So I'm just gonna hand it over to him, let him see if he can figure it out. He's been recording from behind the camera, so he hasn't been seeing the buttons. He's never touched a single one. Now, with that said, we've also got about 9 minutes of flight time into this. Battery's not dead yet. And he's up in the leaves, not too bad. There's a good chance he's gonna end up in that tree though.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, it was a good start. But again, he's never flown a drone in his life, so.
It's kind of cool. So it won't do anything until I touch it. Oh, I figured it out, yeah.
All right. So, aside from the first tree incident, guys, which we can always kind of expect with a new drone pilot, he has already kind of sorted it out. Well, the full story here is a little more complicated and negative than I'd kind of hoped for. With all these new drone iterations showing up on Temu after 2 years, I really hoped we'd see more variation and better cameras. Unfortunately, the cameras on these are all absolutely terrible. Most of them are about 480p quality, not a single 1080p camera among the top 5 sold. Disappointingly enough, is the top sold drone, the E99 Pro or Max. It's the exact same drone we had over 2 years ago, just with a screen. Now don't get me wrong, that is a cool update, and I may be a little bit harsh on it because this drone does come in right here with the screen for only $19. And if one of them wasn't broken right off the rip, I would almost recommend it. I'm right on the line. So let's talk about another issue we had. I gave the E99 Pro a light toss when it wouldn't fly. Light, 2 to 3 feet off the ground. It hit the ground and it snapped off the blade. Thinking easy thought, sure, let's replace the blade. Except the blade itself isn't what snapped. The actual mount where the blade goes is what actually snapped. And you don't have replacement parts for those. The best flyers were hands down the M66 Max, and the M66 Max also had the coolest controller with the screen built in. But again, video quality, absolute trash. And guys, this is a $90 drone. We're no longer in the super budget realm of drones here. Obstacle avoidance did not work on any of the drones. Return home, the E99, you click the return home button, absolutely nothing happens. The button just does nothing. You hold the button, nothing. So that doesn't work. The M66, you click return home, it beeps, and it starts to fly in a direction. Now I'm gonna warn you right now, if you do pick up one of these, if you click the home button and it starts flying in that direction, you would better stop it before it gets out of range, because it will not stop. It will just keep going. And then, I mean, hands down, the best flyer out of the entire group, the one that's most fun to just fly around, has to be the V196 here. Again, the camera is terrible. The remote control uses AA batteries. I'm not a fan of that. Even the $19 drone, you can charge the controller with a USB Type-C. Now, speaking of that, you still have to charge the batteries with a micro USB. Like, they updated one thing and one thing only. Left the rest of it completely the same. Very disappointed in that. And the fact that with the 196, you still have to use your cell phone. Some people, that's not a problem. They don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's clunky. It's weird. And when you can take a $20 drone and stick a screen right here, why can't you do that with a $60 or $70 drone? Now, there are some positives among this group. The M66 crashed into a tree very high up, 35, 40 feet up, hit the ground, and then it crashed into the tree 2 more times, letting my friends fly it, first-time drone flyers. And there is not a speck of damage on this thing. It is just fine. It survived a 40-foot drop without any issue. The trifocal camera in the front, it's only one camera. It's just there for looks. Flying range on all of the drones that actually flew, it's very short. A couple hundred feet max, and you're going to be completely out of range with these guys. So let's just talk about the overall recommendation. If you're looking for a really cheap drone to fly around, if you expect to crash it and don't care about it, I would go with the M66 Max or the V196. Even at $19, I'm still having trouble recommending the E99 Max. It's not good, guys. Now, real recommendation, save up 150 bucks, buy yourself a used DJI Mini 3 or something similar, anything DJI, even one of the older DJI 3s, the big white models. You could probably find those for around 100, 150 bucks. You're gonna get a way better camera, way better flight time, and it's gonna be more durable. But if you do wanna buy one off of Temu and you really wanna stick in this low price, again, V196 or M66. Aside from that, overall, I'm really disappointed in the latest offerings. I was really hoping something had come up, especially with these rising prices on the 2 here on the left. These aren't $15 and $20 drones. Actually, the orange one is the most disappointing. This drone right here, you guys saw the price. It was over $80. Now, with that said, I could have just gotten a defective model. That happens in all manufacturing, but still a pretty poor showing. That's it for this one. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you on the next one.